Hi there. We are on the couch tonight because I don't feel like setting up the tripod for this. I'll give you a better intro. I've got a couple things to finish up tonight, and then I want to start reading my next book, Songs of Love and Death. It's a short story collection. It is edited by George R. Martin and this person, who I've not heard of because I'm not much of a fantasy reader. I've just kind of started getting into fantasy this year, as well as sci-fi. So I picked this up as a blind date with a book, and it is a short story collection which includes Neil Gaiman, who I just finished Anansi Boys from, so I thought let's jump in. And this has 18 short stories in it. They all focus around love and loss. It says, heart-wrenching and deliciously dark, the pages of Songs of Love and Death are full of deadly devotion. Tales of tragedy and romance play out against every setting, from ghost-haunted fantasies to mile-long spaceships trapped in the distance between stars. So this is sci-fi and fantasy. It's from all your, well, not all of them, but a lot of your big ones. We've also got Robin Hobb and Jim Butcher, who I've never read anything from, but I've seen their names everywhere. There's also I believe it's Jacqueline Carey, who my boyfriend likes and has been wanting to get me to read one of her series that he really likes. So this will be like a little taste tester. This is Thursday night, so I'm gonna try and finish this weekend. We don't have too much on, but it is the weekend before Thanksgiving, and I'm hosting boyfriend's family this year, so I will be doing some grocery shopping and some planning and some trying not to stress about cooking for people who have never cooked for before. It's gonna be great. Adulting is so much fun. I will see you later when I finish the story. I failed last night completely on reading. I finished the mushroom night, and then I had some family stuff going on, and spent a bit dealing with that. So I just was too tired to read by the time I was done. So I'm gonna start today, but I've got off work a little early. It's a weekend going into a holiday week where a ton of people are off, so it was really chill day, and I got off work a little early. I got an email from the library that one of my holds came through. I got an ARC approval for the sequel to a Rin Chiapecco book, so I want to go pick up the original. I didn't think it would come through. I didn't think it would come through this fast, so I put a hold on the other book, which I also didn't think would come through this quick, so I'm going to pick it up from the library on the way. I'm going to stop and get a bottle of wine and a pizza, and I'm going to go home, cuddle up with the dog. I'm going to read Songs for Love and Death, and in between, I'm going to play some Pokemon Arceus and just have a chill day. It's cold out. It's just barely above freezing. It's sunny. It's a perfect just go cozy up day going into a weekend, and I need it. My dog squeaks constantly. Do you want to go on a walk? Go downstairs. Let's go. No, downstairs. Did you forget how to go downstairs? Go, I'm coming. He squeaks the whole way down. Are you squeaking? All day, every day. So I messed up the last time, and I rolled a 9, but read story 8 because I accidentally counted the introduction when I was counting. So this time I have numbered the stories. So I finished the Neil Gaiman one. I'm not going to talk about it yet. We're going to roll again. Did you just wake up and you were upstairs alone for a whole 30 seconds? All right, dice. 13. Really? Okay. 13. The Demon Dancer. About 20 pages. So I'm going to bring this back upstairs with me, so that I can do the next one too. I'm just highly amused by the writing. It's so jarring to go from one writing style to another in a short story collection. And it's Mary Jo Petney. She went to school in Syracuse. I'm assuming she's American, but we're talking about British ladies I think we're in New York, but we've mentioned Tennessee as well as, what was the other? like another Tex-Mex. We've like talked about Tex-Mex and Tennessee. We're in New York, and this is like an English lady who's like serving tea, and then we're getting Highland silver malts in it, and I'm just like, what is happening? And we're talking about a succubus that's like killing people in New York, and we're like writing with this like flourish of a very well-spoken, intelligent gentleman who is on the police force, and he's a detective, and we've been told 4 or 5 times in like 3 pages that he's a guardian. And this other one was a guardian like him, and it's just the repetition. But there's a line. She'd also, in her youth, been one very hot babe with cool blonde hair and dangerous blue eyes. Just, I wish I'd known her then, but I'm damned lucky to know her now. This one's not gonna be for me, but I'm finding it entertaining. So I don't read romance, I just find it funny. Her skimpy black dress looked sprayed on. The skirt barely covered her lovely ass. Her sensual gyrations were enough to arouse any straight man who saw her. I was no exception, but hunters are trained to control lust, at least until after the mission is accomplished. I don't know why I find it so funny. I'm just like, I don't know anyone who talks like that, I guess, so I just find it amusing, and it's cringy. It's like when I was in my 20s and would meet guys who would want to like flirt through text, and I am an awkward person and don't, and like I would just get these messages that were like this, and it was just like, one dude called me his moon goddess, and how do you respond to that without laughing? Like, how? We're reading the rest of this. We're just going, okay? You ready? I clamped down on my lower nature and studied the demon's dancing partner, a tall young man with dark floppy hair. Since I was running hot physically, I had a swift flash of knowledge. He was Midwestern, a student in New York to interview at grad school, and having the time of his life in the wicked big city, a lamb for the slaughter. Why? Moving on. The succubus whispered something in her victim's ear. He nodded with dazed enthusiasm and wrapped an arm around her shoulders as they pivoted and headed towards an exit at the back of the ballroom. She was taking him outside for sex and death. Sex and Death is the name of my punk band. I'm claiming it. Okay, that one was something. So I finished 2 of them. We're gonna reroll for the next one. The Neil Gaiman one kind of left you wondering what was reality and what wasn't, because we're following one person and then we switch to another person's POV, and it's only like 18 pages, so it's really hard to not like spoil what happens. And this one, oh my god, it was just so predictable and cringy and cheesy, and I just, oh my god, it was funny. It was funny. Alright, let's do this. Let's roll for the next one. I gotta hide my feet. Okay. Alright, I changed dice because I didn't want to bring mine upstairs. So 19, so we don't have 19. What does that say? 5? 5. Okay, 5 it is. Oh, that's the one I just did. Wait, no, that's Demon Lover, not Demon Dancer. Demon Dancer. Demon Lover. Cecilia Holland. No idea who she is either. About 20 pages. Let's go. Okay, just about to start the third story. I took a break. Ended up not playing games during my break. I fed the dog, made myself some flatbread. My sister-in-law called because my brother found a kitten. I will try to put the picture in here because she is, my brother keeps saying he, sister-in-law keeps saying she, I don't know, is absolutely freaking adorable. And she was like, I need to know where to take her to the vet. And so we were like talking about that and stuff. So and then I watched Fundy Friday's new video because I can't not watch their videos. So I've opened my second cider. We are about to open the book, so let's go. That one was ableist, fat phobic, and the main character had no agency. So let's roll again. $14. Let's see what 14 is. Under Above the Water by Tanith Lee. Let's go. I feel like I have no idea what happened, but I liked it. I rolled up another historical romance author story, so I don't have the energy for that. So here we go. I'm gonna chill. Also, I really like my new controller. Okay. Saturday afternoon. It's another historical romance author. She's written 32 historical romances. If I get partway through this and I don't like it, I'm gonna DNF it because this is long. I'm not gonna be reading like a 30-page short story that's just historical romance that I'm not enjoying. Okay, can't do it. Moving on. 12? Let's see. I don't think I've done 12. Action, adventure, science fiction. Okay, this one might be better. $15. Oh my god. Awesome. POV right now. Pouty boy. Don't know why. Just pouty. Alright. Excuse my cords. I am starting to struggle. I'm feeling like I'm hitting the wall, so we're gonna plow through a couple more. If I still feel like that, I'm gonna switch to the Rin Chipeco book and get a little vampireness into my day. I'm like halfway through the Robin Hobb one, and for my first introduction to Robin Hobb, I'm not enjoying it. Mild spoilers, but there's like the loss of the dog decides to make noise only when I start talking. It's pretty funny. There's like the loss of virginity trope. The dude like manipulated her into it using her grief, and now she's like having suicidal ideations over it, and I'm just like, why do we need this? So for my first like intro into Robin Hobb, man, I'm disappointed. This does take place in the Farseer world. Let me show you what's going on right now. He just turned his back, but he's got his bone. And he was chewing it on the hard floor. Here's my dice bag. I thought it would be fun to break out. Oh, come on, where are you? There we are. Of the big boy. So, listen to this sound. Listen. Have we done 14 yet? Let me check. We have. So we're gonna have to re-roll. 5. 20 we can't do. It's like moving the tray. 10. Okay. So I promised I wouldn't read this one because this has direct spoilers for the series. So I can't do that one. I already did that one. That one too. 6? Okay, we can do 6. Let's do that one. A few of these give synopses, and I appreciate them when they do. So, deep space. Okay, still getting ready to go. Boyfriend and I are going out to some breweries today and to a restaurant that we both like and haven't been in a little while. So I just took the dog for a long walk. I'm gonna go get ready while he is out running a couple errands before we go. So I was thinking about it while I was on my walk, and I'm like struggling with the short story collection at the moment. So I'm gonna put it aside for a minute and pick something else off of, where in space does my hand need to go? There we go. Off of this stack. Oh my god, this stack here. And I was looking at my plan. So my plan for November, the month that we're in, includes Holly, Institute, and Shadow and Bone. Those are the 3 plus the short story collection I need to finish this month. There's only 11 days left in this month, you guys. I'm scared. So I'm going to pick one of these to take with me. And I think I'm going to do the Institute. This is my last of the 23 and 23. So this is, I think, what I'm going to take with me today because my boyfriend smokes and I don't. So whenever he goes out to smoke, I read. So I'm going to go up and finish getting ready. And then we're going to go to some breweries today. So give you some little pretty sceneries and some cool beers and stuff. But yeah, I'm the DD, so I get like 1 or 2 beers today, but it'll be fine. She smelled of sweat and faded perfume and woman. Poopy buds. There's only 6 left, so we're gonna roll D6. 6. So that's gonna be the last one. A leaf on the wind of All Hallows. Okay, so this one hurt me. It's a horror. And at first I was like, oh, I don't know. Because the way it's set up, it's like, it's a ghost story. And like, it's so short, I can't spoil it, but oh my god, I was like irritated. And then I was like, what? Okay. I was super irritated with it at first because I was like, oh, I don't like where this is going. There's like a domestic violence conversation. I was like, why are they doing this? And then the twist at the end, and I was like, holy shit, this is good. Okay, this one, I was starting to get fed up with these historical romances, and this one is good. I liked it. It is a female revenge story, and I am here for it. Switching to the D4. 1. The Gym Butcher. For my first Gym Butcher, I am disappointed. There's only 3 left, so I'm just going to read them in the order. So we're going to do After the Blood by Marjorie M. Liu, His Wolf by Lisa Tuttle, and then Man in the Mirror by Yasmin Galenorn. I hope they're good. Last one. Let's do it. It's a paranormal romance. Ugh. I finished. And I have been trying all day to like record this ending. Just to give you a brief wrap up. Overall, I give this like a 3.5. It was okay. Some of the short stories I really liked and others just really weren't for me. There was more historical romance in here than I was expecting, and that just doesn't do it for me. Especially in a short story, things that are romance forward don't work for me because there's no build up. There's no like, the characters don't have time to foster a relationship unless we have like a pre-established relationship, and then I can kind of get behind that. But when we're like meeting someone new and falling in love in 25 to 40 pages, I'm like, what just happened? Like, you've known them for an hour. Like, I can't with it. And so those were a struggle for me. So if I just go through it in order, I mean, I have some of my reactions in here. So Love Hurts by Jim Butcher. I don't like Jim Butcher. I did not like it. It was forced affection through magic, and that, no, I didn't like that. The Marrying Maid, I DNF'd. It was, when I DNF'd it was just a couple walking through a park talking to each other. It was a historical fiction. That's by Joe Beverly. I just couldn't. Rooftops by Carrie Vaughn was okay. I think that one I gave I gave it like a 2.5 or a 3. It was a superhero, but it was just so meh. Like, it was just like, I don't know, it was just rushed and weird. Hurt Me by MLN Hanover. That one was the surprise horror, and oh my god, I'm gonna look up more of that author and see if I can find anything, because that was, I was like, oh my god, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I like this. We're getting tropes that are like about abused women, and then it just had this twist, and I was like, what? And it was nothing. Everything that was happening was supposed to make you think that it was doing that trope, and then it didn't do that trope, and I was just like, what? Loved it. And it was uncomfortable. Like, to do a short horror story is, I think, difficult, to build that tension and suspense and fear, and it just worked for me. So I really like that one. Demon Lover, I made fun of. That one was just, I don't think, actually, that's not the one I made the jokes about. That was a different demon one. But that was, Demon Lover was dumb, and it was just a girl with no agency, again. The Wayfarer's Advice, that was a sci-fi. That one, I think I gave that one like a 3 as well, or 2.5. I just didn't like it. The Wayfarer's Advice was by Melinda M. Snodgrass, and I think that was just like, it was just so, it was another romance forward, and it didn't make any sense to me, like, that the characters would act that way, and I just didn't like it. Blue Boots was the Robin Hobb one. I was not really a big fan. It was very much woman completely obsessed with a man that she's just met, and no, I wasn't a big fan. So for an introduction into the Farseer world, I was not impressed. So I do want to give some of her other works a chance next year, so hopefully this was just a one-off because it was romance forward. The Thing About Cassandra with the Neil Gaiman one, I loved that one. It had a twist that I didn't expect at the end. Still unclear what really happened, and I like that a lot. Not unclear because the writing was bad, but unclear because there's 2 versions of the story that could be true, and there's no clear definition on which one is the true one. After the Blood by Marjorie M. Liu was vampires, maybe? Again, unclear, but not unclear because the writing was bad, unclear because the characters in the story were unclear about what they were, and that made everything else unclear. I kind of liked that one. I think it was a little too drawn out in some places for a short story. That one was a little longer. I think it was like, that one was 40 pages. It either needed to be like a novella of like 120 pages plus, or it needed to be like 30 pages and like have some stuff cut out. I actually would really have liked that one as a novella. I think it needed a little bit more. And then I skipped the Jacqueline Carey one because I had my boyfriend skim it, and it is a direct spoiler to Kashiel's Dart, which I do plan on reading. He's been trying to get me to read it, and then I keep pointing because he's upstairs. I saw Beautifully Bookish Bethany talked about it in her quarterly wrap-up recently, and she said not only is it like positive sex worker representation, which is what boyfriend told me, but it also has a really good conversation about religion and the like involvement of religion in politics, and the politics in it is really good. And I have found this year that I love politics stories, politics and horror about grief. So then His Wolf by Lisa Tuttle was so dumb, and that was another one where I think that one's only 20 pages. It's 24 pages, and the woman falls in love with a man like that. And I was just like, no. And then the premise was, spoiler, the premise was reverse werewolf. He was a wolf every day except for the new moon when he was a man. Yeah. Courting Trouble by Linny Sinclair. That one was a sci-fi one, and I had mixed feelings on it. had a large cat alien race, which was unique, but I think the romance in it, I would have liked it to just been the story, and I think the romance in it was forced and awkward in some places, and I didn't know how I felt about it. The Demon Dancer, that's the one that I was making fun of. That was the succubus one. The Demon Dancer by Mary Jo Putney. No. Just the writing style and the story for what it was, no. Under Above the Water by Tanith Lee, I really liked that one. It was confusing because we were running like multiple timelines, and I think for a short, it was only 28 pages. It, again, a novella of that I would devour, but as a short story, it was like a 3.5. It really needed more, or it needed like to be half of the story so that we could get a little more understanding, but again, kind of left me with that fever dreamy feeling that the Neil Gaiman one did, so I did like it. Caskia by Peter S. Beagle, that was one of my favorites in this collection. I think I had 3 favorites, and that's the Neil Gaiman one, the where did their name, MLN Hanover, the horror one, and then the Peter S. Beagle. Those were my 3 favorites out of this. And that was like a computer which, when the guy finally presses the button, it contacts something, and that was just trippy enough for me that I really enjoyed it. And then Man in the Mirror by Yasmin Galenorn, I did not like it. There was like a line in it where it was like a woman is talking about her son who is passed, and she's like, yeah, he was always the one that the women they just wanted to be friends with him. They never wanted to be with him because he was just too nice, and you know, women don't like nice men, and they always chose the bad boys ahead of him. And I was just like, oh my god, can we not? And that just bothered me. And then A Leaf on the Wind of All Hollows, I DNF'd. It was a World War II historical romance, and I just could not make myself care. So, mixed bag. If you look at the tabs, the darker tabs are the ones that I liked. A little hard to see in this lighting. The lighter colored ones, there we go. The lighter colored ones are the ones that were under 3.5, and the darker colored ones are like 3.5, and then there's like 3 DNFs there. So technically DNF the Jim Butcher one because I started skimming it. I just like skipped pages and skimmed it. So as a taster, I have a couple fantasy authors to look for, a couple that I want to give another chance to, and a few that I know I don't even know how I feel about considering historical romance fantasy. I think it's kind of its own category of fantasy, right? Because it doesn't have like any of your high fantasy like elements, so I guess it could be, but for me it's not the type of fantasy that I would want to read. So that's where I'm at with that. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next week with something else.